Madam President, to
Yes.
Councilman Jackson, I could say that one of the things we're going to look at here in this operation is that there may be people here who may be getting laid off. We may be able to run the center with the 200 grand, but we're not going to be able to do everything we did before. That's reality. We're not just going to transfer money and then go back and create a whole new set of problems everywhere else because we're going to keep doing everything the same way we're doing it here.
Understandable.
Just like, you know, as far as our priorities are when it comes to snow plowing and salting, we had to revisit those and make some really hard decisions and had to clarify some misconceptions about, you know, salting a bridge in another community, which, you know, we're not doing because it's not our bridge. We have to look at these things and reevaluate them so that we know, you know, what is extremely important gets done in this building, like things like dialysis or food, meals. But other things may have to go by the wayside for now. You know, we might not have, what do we have, Linda, 4 van drivers now?
Yes.
We may only have 3. We have 2 cooks. We might only have 1. You know, we pay someone a small salary at the food pantry. Maybe someone else is going to go over there and work at the food pantry. You know, those salaries all add up to a sum. These are things that are going to be done when Linda and Irene and I sit down and talk about this. Again, when you start saying, going into every department and taking a little, you know, these are employees who have not had a raise in 6 years, over 6 years, have had no raise, no cost of living adjustment, nothing. Their health care went up 30%. Now you want to come back and you want to cut their salaries because you need to give a little. And then what happens when the work doesn't get done? The negotiations, the legal issues don't get taken care of, the grievances. Who's going to do that work? Because you had to cut a little and now we don't have anyone to do it. You're going to bring in green people part-time who know nothing about any of our workings here at Maple Heights? Is that what you want me to do?
Never suggested that.
Well, that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
Could we stop the personal attacks?
These aren't personal attacks, Councilman. In your, Madam President, no, we're not wasting time. Because what you want to do is close Fire Station number 2, Mr. Brownlee, and you also want to close the senior center. You call their programs welfare and social. It's right here off of your website. You want to charge residents for leaves. Why don't you come out from behind your mask and show us the real Bill Brownlee?
Madam Chair, could we move on more beneficial?
Why don't you just tell everybody you don't want us to have school crossing guards? That's another one of your cuts.
Madam Chair.
I think they're probably going to be done.
Because you know what? I think that we're all sitting around this table, we're all getting paid. None of us have actually stepped up to the plate that I know of. I know what I've done for this city and I know what I am doing. And if people want to give back and instead of saying, well, you know, the city wouldn't take part of my salary, write a check. Everybody in here has written checks to either the senior center or to their pet projects that are going around the city. Is anybody volunteering? Did anybody step up to actually volunteer to either deliver Meals on Wheels? Those of us that work or don't work, aside from maybe breaking leaves once, have you done anything else, Mr. Brownlee, or anybody else? Yeah, we are back to square one. What has everybody around this table done for this city? I would like to have people answer that, and I think this is the time to do this. I said, Lena, I know that you would like to answer that.
Let's not.
Quiet. Hold it. Just because you don't like what's being said, we listen to your.
We're here to discuss.
We listen to yours, and this is part of the discussion. I'm sorry, it's part of the discussion.
This is why nothing gets done around here.
No, this is exactly why it should get done.
There are things that are being done around here, Mr. Brownlee.
We need to have hard discussions. If you guys want $325,000 to run the senior center as is, you're not going to get it by doing what you've done in the past. I was at all the meetings you had last year.
Right.
And what came of them?
Could you let us speak?
Very little came of them. So we need to do something different. We need to take a hard look at where we are. And if you want $325,000, if it's possible, then we need to make suggestions. We can't let people like the mayor shoot everyone down. We need to have a real discussion about what we're going to do to try and fund something that we deem is important. To sit here and claim that you want to do it, but not actually present money-saving solutions to provide for it
How
is
about
nonsense.
staff support?
Well, the staff support is a good thing. Mr. Brownlee, this is the first time we've heard any of your ideas, so
Madam President.
this is
all
kind
over
of a new
Facebook.
thing
It's
for
not the
us.
first time.
Madam President, I just want to say, you cannot cut $325,000.
Impossible.
It is impossible. Like I said, we are in the bone marrow with our departments. We are running on the bare minimum everywhere. Everywhere. So if you want to make that situation worse, then listen to this insane
Okay, all
idea.
right, yes.
Really.
Right.
Rena was.
Yeah, because it is. That's what it is, Councilman. Whether you want to hear it or
Madam Chair, can we
not,
move
Councilman
on?
Jackson, I'm not talking to you, Brownlee.
I'm
not.
Who you're talking to. I'd like to move on to beneficial discussion.
Well, then why don't you come up with a beneficial idea?
Okay, Edwina, you had a comment you were going to make?
Oh, no. My comment was for Tony Jones. She said she wanted to know what everybody do around the table for the city. And I do a lot for the city.
As
And
in,
you do.
give away free turkeys
Yeah,
and
nobody's
free turkeys to
questioning
people.
that.
As
Yeah,
in,
but you know,
wow,
and a lot of us
Guys,
do a
come on,
lot
man.
for the city, but we just don't talk. We just don't say
You
it.
do it, Bob. Madam President,
Yes.
I don't see anything
In this
with
meeting.
what Ron suggested and what I suggest. Anthony, this is discussion. And the mayor, well, he's sensitive on his side of the street. And Ron, a lot of us feel it and don't want to say it like you do and like I do. And this is what it's all about when it comes down here. Put it on the table. Then let the mayor answer. You can listen to him. Do you agree with him or not agree with him?
Well,
And you think about it. What he's saying. Do you want to lower the standards of the people that stayed here that's loyal to us? Or you want to bring them down and let them go and still lose the senior center? Or do we slip the senior center? Let's take the advice of who works there, Linda. Let her digest.
No one's asked her.
What she
No one's
said.
asked her. You all talk. You guys all talk a mean talk.
Mr. Brownlee.
Let's talk to
Mr.
Linda.
Brownlee.
Who's
Mr.
gone to talk to
Brownlee,
Linda?
you're out of order.
Oh, listen, now it's Ms. Brownlee, be quiet. I see how it is.
I just said,
I
ask
think you have,
Linda.
we've all had an opportunity to talk. You've not been shut down, Mr. Brownlee. Not at all. I think it's getting really, really late. We go till 9 o'clock. I think we'll be doing something awesome.
I think we should
here.
continue going, Madam Chair. I think we should have a real talk, go through these items.
Madam
Or
Chair, I
at
think we
least-
should hear from Linda. And you butted in on me. That's why he was out of order.
and Madam Chair, I also think that we should schedule another meeting right away, so we
Yeah.
can go on this. I can't see passing it without, we've had some good discussion tonight, but I think there's more to be had.
We have a meeting on Wednesday, and then we have until the following council meeting, because these are due on the 31st. So we can have special meetings if you so desire, or let's go get to our council meeting first.
Well, maybe people can start thinking out of the box instead of seeing what we cut, where else can we get grants
Revenue,
and funds or
revenue
revenue. It
generate.
doesn't have to be from cutting salaries either. Nobody's thinking out of the box.
Sure they are. We should charge our residents for leaves.
No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah,
We are looking
but
at,
Brownlee's want, charge them for leaves.
we are looking at the cell phone,
They can pay.
cell towers at this point in time, to see if there's some revenue that we can bring
Guys, you've
forward.
been doing that for 3 years,
No,
banking
not
on
3
billboards and cell phone towers. This is too much.
Don't come in my neighborhood and ask them to pay for picking up leaves.
Okay, let's go.
Well, don't have any courage to make any changes then.
Well,
Keep them as they are.
More than enough. Someone wants to
Linda
hear-
wants to talk.
Linda,
Yeah,
is it all right?
yeah. Oh, yeah,
Linda wants to hear-
absolutely.
And you-
Yeah.
Okay, Madam President and Council, I just wanted to bring up two things. One is the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging is meeting on the 8th, is their meeting. They have been petitioned by a number of other agencies to see if there are any discretionary funds that can be released to help us. We are on the radar of the entire aging network in Northeast Ohio because there are so many centers that are being threatened to close, and with what is called the silver tsunami, which is the number of people that are going to be turning 60, if communities like Maple Heights lose the service like this, they will not get them back. And there will be a hole in the aging network. Last week, I basically threw a Hail Mary pass, and this is what, there were a group of senior centers called the Golden Age Centers of Cleveland. One of them is the Oakwood Senior Center, and the others are located in the Cleveland area. There are about 4 or 5 of them. The gentleman who became director 3 years ago, his name is Michael Biedenbach. I know him from going to meetings and all of that. When he came from the private sector with a business degree, came in and they were private nonprofit and said, we're not going to make it. There wasn't enough money for them to go forward. He approached the Benjamin Rose Institute. Those of you who know the Benjamin Rose Institute, just pardon me, they've been around since 1920. They're the premier place for aging services. We are affiliated, we used to be affiliated with them when Stephanie was here for a senior companion program. The Alzheimer's Association is housed in the Fairhill Institute on Aging, is where the Benjamin Rose is. Anyway, the Golden Age Centers of Cleveland, Mike went to them, and they forged basically a partnership. It's not, the Benjamin Rose Institute absorbed the Golden Age Centers of Cleveland. By absorbing them, they changed their name to the Rose Centers for Aging Well. And they are now part of, they have their CEO, Mike, and Rich Brody is the CEO of the Benjamin Rose Institute. I called Mike and asked if there was any possibility that they would like or have the wherewithal to absorb one more center in their network and absorb our services. The first thing he said to me was the first thing that would have to be approved would be free rent in the building. The building would have to be given free rent to the Rose Centers, well, the Benjamin Rose Institute, and pay all the utilities. Those are the two that began the conversation of doing it. I called Mayor Lansky, said you're going to keep the building open anyway for city council meetings, you're going to use the building for other city functions. What do you think? He said that he thought that was a doable, that would be a doable proposition. When that was the Monday before the provisional votes were counted, they asked me to call back after the provisional votes were counted. I called back, told them we didn't make it. Mike said, okay, let me get back to you. He called me later that afternoon, and on Wednesday, which was the next day, the CEO of the Benjamin Rose Institute and Mike came to see the facility. They wanted to see. And some of City Council was here for the breaking of the bread, and you met 1 or 2 of them, I'm not sure. He looked at the facility, he thought that it was a very nice building, he thought that the services he mentioned, we talked about our fundraiser in June. He said that for a small agency to make what we made in that fundraiser, he thinks it would be important to keep the staff that is here because obviously the community responds to the people who are working here. So we left it at, because we were meeting tonight, I wasn't sure what you were going to do. Mr. Brody made 2 suggestions. One is, as he sees it, there's a short-term goal of getting through the first 6 months of 2015 so that it would, and this is his opinion, there would be an opportunity to go back to the ballot in May and see if they would fund, if the community we could get behind, the community would get behind and fund the senior center. or the whole human services, which would be the recreation with the pool and our department. He said, so the short-term goal would be looking at how they could assist us in that process. The second term is if you go back to the voters and they say no again, how do we forge a long-term partnership with the Benjamin Rose Institute and become what would be a very unusual, not unusual, but a unique partnership of the public sector and the private sector to provide the services that we provide here. I'm going to tell you that when I go to meet with the mayor and Irene, we won't get the grant money if I don't have the staff I have now, at least in transportation. I'm telling you that up front. I can't meet the goals, and then I'm being real honest here. I can't meet the goals to get the reimbursement to get the money. So with one KitchenAid, that might be a doable situation. The mayor mentioned KitchenAids. But again, what do I do when that one person gets sick? Who do I send to the food pantry? And you received from Irene these papers well, maybe you didn't. I don't think you did. You didn't give these out, right? Okay, if you add up those salaries, we're going to fall short. My suggestion is if there is any way to get us through to those first 6 months of 2015 and enter into conversations with the Benjamin Rose Institute, whether or not a levy passes, whether or not. Because the demands on the program, the demands on the budget of the city of Maple Heights are going to continue to increase. The police department, the fire department are going to need more and more money. The service department is they need more help to serve the residents. So my suggestion is that you try to fund us because these things don't happen overnight. This kind of partnership, I can't call them and say, tomorrow we're going to do this. Details have to be worked out. They have to find it in their budget to do this as well. Now, the good part about this, one of the most encouraging parts about this, is they went to the Helen S. Brown Center in East Cleveland to do this when Irene happened to be at the finance director in East Cleveland. Now, the Helen S. Brown Center was not a good bet. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. It was mismanaged. They did not, all of their reporting to all their funders was behind. So when the Benjamin Rose Institute looked at them, they said, nah, not such a good deal. On the other hand, they know of our services, they know of our reputation and how we manage to stay everything going good. So the bet is better that they will assume us. We're also in a good proximity with Oakwood. We are also in the proximity of them wanting to move into Warrensville and into Bedford and Bedford Heights where they don't have services, which gives us the advantage of being the place where those services would emanate from. So I wanted you to know that I was doing that. Again, this is not a guarantee. I wish I could give you a guarantee and a contract, but it's a matter of staying afloat so that we can move towards this partnership and give security not only to this department, but free up funds for the other departments. Okay? Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
That's another elephant in the room that we haven't discussed tonight, but we could put it on the agenda for our next meeting of the whole, is to put another levy on for possibly May.
Madam President, just one more comment. If a levy, again, you're asking, so I'm telling you, the suggestion would be human services so that, again, it would be more palatable to the residents if we were able to open the swimming pool and offer some recreation for the children. I don't think one service to the seniors should continually be pitted with, against services for children. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Kenny.
may I address the council, please?
Absolutely. Why not?
Thank you. just in case anyone doesn't know, I am Kenny Yuko. I have been duly elected as your state senator last November, or a few weeks ago actually. We don't take office until January 1st officially, but that does not stop me from right now reaching out to help. Linda, if you need some assistance, if I can assist you with letter writing, attending meetings with you, reaching out to other agencies, reaching out to other communities that have senior programs that might have suggestions or similar problems that you're dealing with, and maybe we can, combine resources, ideas, manpower, whatever the case may be, to the mayor and council. I'm here. Okay, I don't mind working. I actually like working. Okay, I like problem solving. I like reaching out to people. There are people out there, and if there's any ways, means, or whatever that we can be of any assistance to this group. I mean, I have been no stranger to Maple Heights since I declared my candidacy to be your state senator. I've been around, I've been in this building, I've been with these people, I've been with these residents. And I can tell you, I think of my 28 cities that I'll be representing come January 1st, I don't think I've heard from any one city more than Maple Heights with people contacting me after my election to offer congratulations. And immediately after congratulations came, but what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about that? Why do we have this? Why can't we have that? And this facility certainly came up more than its fair share of times. They remembered that Pam and I donated a TV to your chicken dinner in an effort to draw more interest and get more people out here. They know I'm committed to the senior community. I'm a senior citizen myself. I remember my mom and dad, and they stayed active in Lyndhurst and their senior program, and how good it made them feel. I can tell you that as a state representative for 8 years, we were very active with our senior community and things that they've done. And whether it be taking care of Meals on Wheels, transportation for those who don't have family members that are able to drive them anymore, and quite often that was the case, people who needed dialysis on a regular basis that would normally rely on family members to take them at some point or time, that family member became unable to provide those services, and they had to reach out for assistance from somebody. And places like this were able to oblige those residents and help them move forward. Nobody wants to go through these programs, cuts like we're seeing and like we're talking about. I can tell you that last week or 2 weeks ago, we were down in Columbus for orientation for new legislators. There was a Republican legislator who, when we had a chance to sit down with the governor, he asked him, he said, "Can I ask you a question, Mr. Governor?" He said, I have a lot of mayors who are all coming to me saying, we can't survive running our cities with the tax cuts that have been implemented from the governor's office. What can we do to expect to remedy this? He says, give them a message that they have more money than I have. He said, these cities have more money, surplus money in their accounts than we have in the state. Okay? That is absolutely not true. In the rainy day fund, it might be because they have over $2 billion in that rainy day fund right now. But as far as it goes for us running our cities, it's going to be very difficult. I'm in a good position here in Cowgate County. We have a floor leader, Tom Patton, the state senator from Cuyahoga County. We need to reach out to him and work with both sides of the aisle and try to see if they have a solution, because I'm sure that I can tell you right now, talking to our 28 cities in the Senate district, that almost all of them are experiencing tremendous difficulties with financial situations. It just can't be this Senate district. It's got to be all of them. And with Tom being on the Republican leadership team, knowing what he has to deal with, knowing his background, knowing that if we work together on a common goal. And like I said, I'll be more than happy to work with this council. I'll be very happy to work with Mayor Lansky, other mayors. I'll be very happy to work with Linda and other senior groups that we have throughout the Senate district and outside the Senate district. But the most important thing is this. All of us who run for office, we take an oath of office to do our best to provide for our citizens. And this is the type of agency that means more to our citizens than anything. They come here week after week after week. And no disrespect to our fire chief, because I tell you what, kudos to those guys, what they did last week in that fire on Rockside Road. I mean, that was something that's a fireman's nightmare, what they went through. And they came out of it with flying colors. They made the city look proud. and we should be very proud of our fire department. They were assisted by our police department as well. But again, most residents, they don't have that daily contact with our police and fire. They do have daily contact with agencies like this, where our citizens from Maple Heights come here on a daily basis, whether it be for food, companionship, transportation, whatever services that Linda provides for them. This is their lifeline right here. This is the lifeline of Maple Heights. More important than our members of council and more important than Mayor Lansky, and certainly more important than their state senator. They want this location right here to thrive more than anything else. And I'd like to commit to myself to do whatever I can do to assist all of you in making sure that this place continues to run. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay, it's after 9 o'clock. Do you want to continue on and on, or would you prefer to do just another meeting? We should have some more information on some of the initiatives that we're talking about. Absolutely. Yes,
What
we'll
about
do
the
that
rainy
for
day?
you. Rainy day, well, Mr. Jackson is definitely against the rainy day fund. But
And get to 21.
Was it, I hurt my name?
yes,
What did you?
that you were against moving the rainy day fund, I think. Are you the only one? Are
We need
you?
to talk about more than the rainy day. We need to line up everything that we need to fund, how much money we need, and then start lining up all the things, places where we can save money and find money. I mean, that's one thing, it's $20,000 out of $325. So it's going to be a broader discussion than, oh, well, we settled that.
Madam President?
Yes,
If it's not too late for the clerk's deadline, or the self-imposed deadline for the council, I would like the clerk to draw up legislation to move the garbage
yeah.
surplus, the fee, into the general fund. Also to separate piece of legislation, the rainy day fund, to move that 20,000. Any council members, you can ask them if they want to put their names on that as co-sponsors, that's fine.
How are you doing? How's your
Mayor, it's
Thanksgiving?
not just the $200,000 moving, you want the entire waste management fund.
Moved into the general
Like-
fund.
Well, right now it's 200,000.
But we want the
You
whole
want the
fund.
whole fund transfer.
Right.
You just reintroduced that ordinance.
He's got it.
Thank you.
But also, I think we need to remember that Linda has asked for more time to negotiate, so that this money will buy us more time. So, looking at, in the sake of looking at everything again and trying to see what we can do here that gives time to negotiate.
It makes good sense, I think, to most of us. I mean,
Makes a lot of good
it's
sense.
the most common sense thing to do.
And then we have a motion on the floor on Wednesday to accept this legislation
Why do we need
as a
that?
late addendum.
Yeah.
Why do we need that? Do we need that, Mr. Mellon?
Excuse me, I didn't hear what she said.
We can't introduce legislation on the floor.
Yes, you can.
It,
It's an addendum.
no, an addendum has to come Monday by noon, I think it is.
They can make a motion to accept it in.
It's a regularly scheduled meeting.
Yes, yeah.
You
It's a
can,
regular-
you can introduce through the floor and amend your agenda on site at the time.
No, you cannot. The sunshine laws will not permit us to simply amend our agenda.
You know what, Mr. Brownlee,
It has
I'll
to
go
be
with the
published.
lawyer. I
It
will
has
go
to
with
be
the
pub-
lawyer.
Fine, guys.
Okay, and Brad, I think it's been a long day for most of our employees and the rest of our working people here, so we will meet again, folks. But let's get something moving on Wednesday, absolutely. Thank you so much, Irene, for being part of this discussion. Meeting is adjourned at 9. Thank you for coming.